Folks, I'm with my son Daniel, and Thursday, October the 5th is his birthday. What better way to celebrate than to take a bunch of you to the Leaf game? We did this last year. We had a ton of fun, and we thought, how do we do it even better this year? And the answer, more tickets. We're giving away even more tickets than before. We've got 8 tickets we're giving away in pairs. Daniel, what do they got to do to win tickets?
So to win tickets, it's going to be the same as last time. There's going to be an email address on the screen here. It's leaftickets@teamsessa.ca. We're asking you to nominate the biggest Leaf fan you know that would love to come to a game but might not be otherwise be able to. We're all going to be sitting together. It's, again, Thursday, October 5th versus the Detroit Red Wings, and submissions will be cut off at Sunday, midnight, October 1st. So make sure you get your emails in before then, and we'll see you at the game.
Go Leafs, go! Folks, so many headaches out there just because some agents don't read. I'll tell you what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham region for week ending September 20th, 2023. Headaches, conflicts, all sorts of tension, just because some realtors don't read the offer or the agreement of purchase and sale. It's the same document. They just don't read it. How do I know they don't read it? Because I experience it. I see it when I'm dealing with other realtors out there. And not all. There's awesome realtors out there, but some of them just drive you crazy. I received an offer on one of our freehold properties not too long ago. In Schedule A, there's a clause for the lawyer to review the status certificate. Now this is a freehold property. It's not a condo. There's no status certificate associated with the freehold property. Yet the clause is there. What did this agent do? I could only presume, I'm guessing, I think it's a pretty good guess. They copied from another agreement, copied and pasted and put it in there, and I'll often copy clauses from other agreements I've done that are suitable, but I read it and I adapt it and I make sure before any of this stuff gets signed that everybody knows, that my clients know what they're signing. Well, this agent copied and pasted from a previous offer. There's a status review condition. Somehow his client signed off on this. Why? Because the offer was never read to them, and the realtor never proofread the offer, and so now I'm receiving this, and I got to explain to my clients, oh, there's a status review condition, makes no sense, we need to cross this off, initial. But it just kind of shows to you I guess how serious the realtor takes their responsibility of putting an offer together. Now, most of the public, especially if they're new to real estate, they're new to buying and selling, when you talk about putting an offer, they'll focus on price and maybe closing date. That's kind of their focus. But there's a ton more parts to that offer that are vital and important. Well, unfortunately, some realtors focus on price and closing date only, and the rest is kind of, whatever's there is there. They don't take it that serious, which is too bad. On a recent property representing a buyer that we purchased, when we bought this house, we knew that my client, the buyer, was going to do a bunch of renovations. But he also wanted to move in shortly after closing date. So we knew that as soon as we closed, the rentals would have to start right away, and then they could move in. So we put in 3 visits. We could have put in 4 or 5. We thought 3 was enough. But through discussion with my client, 3 visits was enough, 2 would have been not enough. So we put 3 visits. And it was accepted from the other side, although we went back and forth a few times negotiating. We're never negotiating the visits. We're negotiating the price mostly and closing date. Offer gets accepted. I book 1 visit. We bring in a bunch of contractors to quote. I book the 2nd visit, also a few more contractors to quote. I'm about to book I booked the 3rd visit, and I get a call from the agent saying, Santo, you've already had 2 visits. I said, yes, it's true, and now I'm booking the 3rd. He goes, but 2's the standard. Well, first of all, with all my experience, I've never heard the word 2 visits is the standard. I usually book 3 visits. So this agent is telling me that 2 is the standard. I go, well, I don't know about it being the standard. However, in our agreement, we put 3 visits, and we expect 3 visits, and we need 3 visits. So he says, what are you talking about 3 visits? Like I'm saying something that's not true. I go, read the contract. Calls me back in an hour and he says, okay, it says 3 visits, but you had an appraisal done there from your financing company. So that's your 3rd visit there. I go, what? So you read the first sentence. You didn't read the agreement the first time when we were negotiating. And now that I've asked you to read it, you read the first sentence in that clause that says 3 visits, and then you stopped. Because the rest of that sentence says clearly appraisals and other things that are equivalent to appraisal type of visits. They're not considered visits. And besides, the buyer's not even at these things. It's the bank that organizes the appraisal and so forth. So I go, you didn't read the rest of the clause. It says appraisals are not considered visits. And then there's a pause, and he says, I'll call you back. And then he called me back. He says, okay, what time do you want to go for your visit? It's like well, why do we even need to go through this? If he would have read that, and every realtor, you receive an offer, first of all, read it to yourself and kind of point out potential pitfalls in this offer. And then read it to your client so they understand what they're signing. And for those of you that are the clients, you should be insisting on reading the offer before you sign it, and ask for explanations on what certain clauses mean that you're not comfortable with. Like, that's just the way it should be. So the public needs to take some responsibility. Realtors, read everything. Hot water tank or the rental items, I'll put none when I'm putting in an offer, and it gets accepted. Lo and behold, before closing, it's found out there's a hot water tank rental. And the agent on the other side, the listing says, oh yeah, there's a hot water tank rental. But you guys accepted that there wasn't. So now what do? It causes problems. And I'll tell you who's going to win. The person that is going by whatever is written in the agreement, because that's assumed to have been accepted, and it's assumed that it was read. So lots of headaches can be resolved if realtors just read the whole agreement, not just the price and the closing date. If you think this video can help somebody, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Real estate markets are local. And when we look at, say, what's happening in the Maritimes or what's happening in BC with real estate, it's really easy and everybody kind of understands, well, that's there. We're our own market here. And that's true. But even within our own market, there are many, many hypermarkets very sensitive to their own community. I'll give you an example. Yesterday in the Toronto video, I talked about sales jumped way up since September. Listings have jumped way up, and I'm showing all these true numbers of what's happening in the city of Toronto real estate market. Well, I'm going to be talking about Mississauga, Brampton, and Durham in this report, and many stats are different. Sales are not up so much. Actually, I'm wondering where are the buyers, and listings, they may be up a little bit, but not so much. So this makes it really confusing for a lot of people, because when you read a headline or you see a headline in the news and somebody's talking about the market, which market are they talking about? Are they talking about City of Toronto? And even within the City of Toronto, there's different markets. Are they talking about Brampton, Mississauga? Are they talking about Richmond Hill? All these are their own markets. Many times similar, many times, like right now, very different and very confusing. Let's get started. Here's a quick summary. This is for detached properties only, Mississauga, Brampton, and Durham. Now for Durham, I'm using Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby as my Durham sample, but these are average sold prices for detached properties for week ending September 20th. Let's look a little bit closer. Here's Mississauga. So sales have been trending down, and although after the first week, after September, we jumped up and we thought, wow, sales are up. This is, great. We're seeing activity. They're back down to 31. Now, I know it's not a big, huge difference from the previous week, but when we've been doing 40s, 50s, 70s, we're only at 31, you kind of wonder what's going on. It's like, where are all the buyers? Average sold price from one week to the next came down to $1,486,000. If we compare to last year, 1,486 is 7% higher than where we were a year ago. And I kind of boxed off here August. Through the month of August, generally, average sold price was lower than where we were the same time last year. We're 7% lower, 4%, 5%, 10%. Since September started, we're higher, 10%, 7%, 7% higher. So the script's changed a little bit there. When we look at the median price of $1,330,000, the median price is 1% higher than where we were a year ago. And the dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. And I've kind of put a line here, August. So August, September. Well, leading up to August, average price and median price were trending down. And I know it's only been 3-week endings so far in September, but average price looks like it may be trending up a little bit right now. So this makes it a little confusing, because if you're thinking, oh yeah, prices are trending down. Well, it's almost like that was then and this is now, and it's a different world, it seems, out there in the real estate market right now. Look at sales. 31, 36, 32. Just 3 months ago, the ending of June and beginning of July, we were doing 58, 44, 40. It has been trending down, but you kind of figured it would be picking up right now. And so far, it hasn't. Is there a delay? And because there's often the talk that things happen in Toronto first and then they permeate out to all the other areas. That could be, but we don't know the whole story here yet. If we look at listings, this is what we expect. We expect a ton more listings right now, because we're also seeing that in other areas, but not all areas. So a ton more listings. Active listings has gone up. This, to me, is kind of normal, what we would expect, which should have a softening effect on pricing. Months of inventory is up. Well, tons more listings. Sales really haven't changed, but there's more properties now. Months of inventory, you would expect it to go up. We're sitting at 4.1 months of inventory. Here's Brampton. Sales, except for the 1 week, the previous week where we sold 59 and we thought, wow, sales are up. Well, they're back down, 39. And 39 seems to be about the norm since the beginning of August. Average sold price, it's climbed up for the last couple of weeks, sitting at $1,887,000. Now, 1,187 is not that much higher than our lowest low that we had last year, which was for the month of October. Compared to last year, 1,187 is 2% higher than where we were this time last year. The median price is the same as where we were this time last year. Prices have been trending down, but doing some funny things for the first few weeks of September right now. We don't know how this story is going to unfold still. 39 were sold, 31%, less than a third, sold at list price or more. Just 3 months ago, we were in the high 50s and 60s selling at list price or more. So listings, sure, they're up a little bit, but not that much. Not the way you saw in Mississauga, not the way you're, excuse me, not the way you're seeing in the city of Toronto. So they're up, but I gotta ask, where are all these listings? Because we know there's a ton of properties that didn't sell over the course of the summer that we expect to come back. And we know there's a lot of sellers that were on the sidelines because of what they saw with prices in the summer. So I'm wondering, are we gonna see an influx a little bit delayed soon for Brampton? Months of inventory sitting at 4.2. We've got the 1 week here. Last week it dropped down to 2.7. We're back up to 4.2, which is kind of in line to where we've been since the beginning of August. So they trended up and now seems quite, steady at the 4 point something mark. Here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. Sales trending down even now, which we'd expect to see more sales. And I'm working with clients in the Durham region. There is an increase in intensity. I'm surprised it's not equating to more sales, because we're seeing more and more offer nights now on properties. Sellers seem to have found a new level of confidence in offer night. Durham region tends to be a little bit more competitive than some of the other regions like Mississauga and Brampton. Average sold price, $1,178,000. It was trending down. It's very clear it was trending down. Then for a couple of weeks we shot up. We're still up there. We don't know the rest of the story yet, folks. It's really tough to say what's going to happen here. 1178 is 4% higher than where we were a year ago. The median price is also 4% higher. Looking at the dotted line, it's trending down, but because these last couple of weeks it's prices are up, we know that that line is going to be moving up shortly. 31 were sold. Here's something that doesn't, how does this make sense? When almost everywhere else, the amount of property selling, the percentage of property selling at list price or more is kind of trending down. This is trending up at 65%. It was trending down previously, but come September, more and more properties are selling at list price or more. And that's the intensity I was speaking about earlier. If you're active in any of the Durham regions, you're seeing that there's more buyers showing up, there's more competition, and we're seeing it here in the numbers. Listings, okay, so we're seeing much more listings. This is what we expect. 131 were listed both weeks for the last 2 weeks, in the Durham region. This is for, again, Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby, and this is only for detached properties. Active listings is increasing. Months of inventory is increasing. I put a star here for average days on market drop down to 9. We haven't had that low of a number in 3 months. 9 is really low in a market where we're expecting it to be, it's more of a downturn of a market, it's declining. 9, that's because more and more properties are selling at list price or more, and there's more offer dates, so it's cut the average days on market down by quite a bit. This is condos now. Condos, totally different world. Condos, this is just for Peel region. 27 condos were sold. 2 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price sitting at $621,000. So we had one crazy week there. Let's pretend we don't see that 1 week that's out of the norm. Average price since the beginning of September has kind of been sitting just a little bit over 600. We're at 621 now. We were higher than 650. So 650, 663, 667. Now we're in the 620 mark, 615, 620. So prices have been trending down. Sales have been trending down. Compared to last year, 621 is 1% lower than where we were a year ago. The median price is 1% higher than where we were a year ago. Again, this is for condo apartments for Peel region. 27 were sold, 33% sold at list price or more. So the percentage selling at list price or more was trending down. Since September, it's picked up a little bit. It's notching up. Listings, again, this is what we expect. more listings. 143 were listed. The previous week, 153 were listed. But before that, we were 100, 124, 110. So there's way more condos in Peel region being listed. Active listings is increasing. Months of inventory, it's in fives, 5.4 months of inventory. We're in a buyer's market category. Months of inventory has been trending up and has been high now for a while. Here's a quick summary. Balanced market, we say, is between 3 and 5 months. Generally speaking, in most areas, it's going to be a balanced market. But some areas now, especially when you're talking condos and some pockets in Brampton and Mississauga, you might start feeling the effects of a buyer's market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.